Plan Well, Enjoy Life is presented by G. Pollack Financial in Bend. Send us your questions now. Email us at planwell@gpollackfinancial.com or call us at 541-480-1661.
This is Greg Pollack with G. Pollack Financial. You're listening to Plan Well, Enjoy Life, a program designed to bring some rational thought to an increasingly irrational economic landscape. All right, this is probably our last new show for 2019, and given the resurgence of the real estate market with the lower rates we've gotten, I thought it'd be a good idea to get a pulse check in the real estate arena and some of the issues that we're dealing with headed into 2020. And so today we're being joined by Johnny Champa. He's a local realtor here in Central Oregon. Just a bit about Johnny. He's lived in Bend for almost 15 years now. He's been in the real estate industry for a few years. He's with Keller Williams here in Bend. He also owns a small cattle ranch just east of town, is apparently also involved heavily in motocross. So Johnny, thanks again for joining us. It's great to have you on the show.
Greg, thank you so much for having me here. I'm excited.
Awesome. All right, so Johnny, look, we saw real estate slowing down quite a bit this time last year as the Fed was in the midst of raising rates. The Fed has reversed course this year. It seems like real estate has picked up quite a bit, although there's been some fluctuations in pricing. Is that what you're seeing? What's going on?
That is exactly what we're seeing, yeah. So this time last year, our rates, and not to quote me here, but our rates were about 5, a little bit above 5.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, right now, I just closed a deal today. We're at a 3.75. And just to give you a comparison on that in numbers range, if just principal and interest payments at 5.1 around interest rate for a $300,000 loan was about $1,620, and that was last year at this time. This year, right now, when you can get that same mortgage of $300,000, your principal and interest payments drop down to, I believe it's $1,380 or $1,390. That's a $220 a month savings just on interest.
That's $3,000 a year almost.
$79,000 over the course of a 30-year mortgage. And I know a lot of people don't have a 30-year or pay off that whole 30-year mortgage.
Sure.
But still, that's a big factor to recognize. And then if you're going to pay that same $1,610 as you were for that $300,000 mortgage now that mortgage can be $347,000, I believe, somewhere right around there.
Outstanding.
Yeah, so that's really increasing the buyer's purchase power. Their debt-to-income ratio versus what kind of real estate and how much real estate they can buy is a big factor in why these interest rates, low as they are right now, are creating this very lack of inventory that we have.
Well, that's what I want to get into. My understanding is the inventory is extremely tight right now, and it's always been kind of tight here. We've got the urban growth boundary.
We're on the West Coast.
It's tough to deal with, right? Yeah. But my understanding in talking with some other people in the industry, it's super tight right now. People just aren't listing where they were before. Do you have a reason for that? Is there some explanation as to why that's happening?
And yeah, Greg, I believe for that there's a couple reasons that are at play here. The one is markets are emotional.
Yeah.
And as you probably talk on your show, what's going to happen next?
Right.
What's going to happen next? The crystal ball has so many different answers right now. And everyone, depending on what you're going to say, next year's going to be strong. Next year's going to be weak. We're going up. We're going down. And we're at that point in that kind of up ebbs and flows where we don't really know. And so
it really could go either way.
And so a lot of people are saying, hey, I just want to wait and see. I couldn't sell my house for what I thought I could, so I'm just gonna wait and see.
Right, I could see that as well. And then, of course, even if you're looking to sell, if you've got to turn around and buy something else at this market level, the big concern is if I buy something, am I going to regret it 2 years from now? That's and it's all still a muscle memory of what happened back in 2008, 2009.
Extremely.
But as we keep reminding people, it's a very different environment than it was back then. Now people have to actually qualify for the mortgages that they got.
Yes.
And as long as you're buying within your means and not banking on a perpetually upward market, you should be able to absorb some time, you should be okay over the long run.
That's absolutely correct,
right?
yeah.
Okay, but it's just now a question of finding something that you want, and that's the eternal challenge, right?
Where 4 years ago, the motivation was a big motivation that was in the market that was causing a lot of this increased buying and selling where, usually it's 5 to 7 years. Right now it's been, 2 to 4.
Right.
And that's a lot of turnaround for home ownership. And that's a lot more because the motivation was financial. Hey, I can buy a house, live in it for 2 years, do nothing, and sell it and walk away $20,000, $30,000 in my pocket that came out of inherently nowhere.
Sure.
Now, that's a question that is not, I don't have the answer for that now.
No one knows for sure.
You
felt pretty confident in 2010 that if you could hang on long enough, you were going to recover and recoup
in
some money.
2013 and 2015, you could buy. In 2017,
even 16, 17. That's right.
Mm-hmm. I've had people buy a house, for example, in like Redmond for $200,000 in 2017. They put $5,000, $8,000 down, low down payments, low entry cost.
Yeah.
They walked away with a $50,000 check just 2 years after owning that house.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
That's outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now look, we recently had a Fed meeting. The Fed elected not to lower rates again, but they held them steady. And it sounds like, at least what Powell indicated, they're probably going to keep rates at this level well into 2020, possibly for the whole year. I have to think that provides a little bit more runway and security for those seeking to make some moves real estate wise.
And I agree with you. However, not the average home buyer and home seller thinks about rates as their first reason.
Okay.
That's not an initial, that's down the line. They don't understand rates make a huge impact.
It's a huge impact.
Some people that were around a long time ago when interest rates were 12, 15% understand that. However, the average home buyer that have seen rates between 5 and 3.5% for however long they've been around that area really aren't understanding how big of a deal low interest rates right now.
I mean, my first home was at 7.5, and I remember refinancing to about 5.5, and then obviously we came out here, and I've been under 5% the entire time we've been out here. But this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity. Like 20 years from now, probably not going to be the case. I would think, or possibly even 5 years from now.
The average, home owner at 38, 39, 40 years old, 45 even, hasn't really experienced anything like that. So they just take this once in a lifetime opportunity for granted.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's shift gears a little bit here. This is normally a very slow time of year for real estate. A lot of people we talked about, people have been getting frustrated. For a while there, buyers were getting priced out of the homes they wanted. Now sellers are sort of getting priced out because we have some price compression a little bit. But the buyer, now the power's going back to the buyer. But I would have to think with rates this low, seemingly staying low in 2020, this should be a good time to consider some real estate if you can find something that you want, just because the entry point is so much less. It's less onerous to get in and make it pencil out. But we've got these supply issues. I know they're building them as fast as they can. But are we getting enough supply? Do we anticipate more supply coming, or is it sufficient to meet the demand?
So there are a couple different answers to that question. I'll start with this. I always say it's always a good day to buy a good deal.
Yep.
And that's every time of the market. And you just have to understand what time of year it is and what type of market it is to find that good deal. Right now, those good deals are coming with actually homes that have been on the market for a while. The property that I closed on today, I believe, was on the market 130 days before we made the offer. We got an accepted sales price, and it closed today at $352. They came on at $405.
Wow.
That's a gut check right there. That's kind of like the example that I'm going to share with you right now is okay, my neighbor sells his house in May when the price is the highest, and we just proved that here. That's basically the top of the market right now as much as we can see. And in May, that price, that property sold for $405, let's say.
Yeah.
And so, I'm his neighbor. My house has better, kitchen cupboards or whatever.
So it's got to be worth $450.
Yeah, so it's worth, So I put it on for $410, $415, because I'm awesome. And my house is better because it's got my dust in it.
Right.
And, then, boom, you start kind of cresting that market. It goes down. So the market goes down. Well, you're overpriced, so you're not getting any offers. Well, the longer your home sits on the market, it decreases in value as well. So you have to chase the market. While the market is going down, your property is going down. So you're trying to just chase the market down. 3 months after you listed it, it was worth $405. Now it's worth $380. Yeah. 3 months later, but you're at $390 because you didn't want to drop it you didn't want to go under market. 6 months later, the property's now worth $350. You're still at $360 and no one's looking. But what the heck? You could have sold it 6 months ago for $400 yesterday, but you decided to list it at $415. So we're seeing these properties that just got listed a little bit too high, and they've been wrote off because they were overpriced, and now they're coming into like, holy smokes, guys, I really got to sell this thing, and taking a big gut check, which is an opportunity for buyers and for experienced agents to take care of.
Gotcha. Yeah, I remember, look, this is a common problem. It's the same thing when you're buying stocks in the market. It's trying to chase it too high, and part of the problem is recognizing that the value of the money today is worth more than it is tomorrow. You're better off. And buyers are always looking for some instant equity. They want some instant value. They want to feel like they're getting a good deal, like we talked about.
Exactly.
So if they know that they're paying a premium above what it should be listed at, they're going to be more reluctant to buy. In my case, when I bought the house, I knew they were selling it a little bit below market value. And even though I knew that we hadn't hit bottom yet, I was able to sleep a little bit at night because I knew I could absorb some further downturn before.
So I want to give you another statistic too. That's really I bring it a lot with sellers about pricing. Right now in Bend, our average market price is what we got, $431.
Yeah.
Okay, and at that market price, we're seeing buyers submit offers at about 98.7% final list price to sales price. Okay, Greg, what that means is there's no lowballing going on here. The buyers are submitting the full price or close to full price offers for properties that are at market price and that are priced right. However, to get that final list price, that person may have to do that $50,000 worth of price reductions. And so what I want to tell the sellers out there is about every 3 to 5% of your sales price is a different set of buyers. And that's the buyers that you need to get into now. So if you're not getting showings and you're not getting offers and your property is on the market, it just is a 3 to 5% price adjustment to get a whole new set of buyers. Those buyers that are down just the 3%, that could be $10,000.
You're basically cutting yourself off from a whole marketplace.
They're not seeing your property at all because it's 3% higher. They're totally writing it off.
It's not in their portal.
They're not. Yeah. It's not in their portal. It's not in their budget. It's not in their price range. They're not looking. And if you were to just lower that property 3%, that's small.
You opening up to a lot more
whole
buyers.
new sector of clients. That's a huge thing that people, I'll just price it high to renegotiate. You're missing the mark of the market.
Okay.
That's a big deal.
This is good advice. No, that's a big point. I hope a lot of people out there are listening. Johnny, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we want to continue this conversation, so please stay with us. All right, welcome back. I'm Greg Pollack with G. Pollack Financial. You're listening to Plan Well, Enjoy Life, a 30-minute program designed to bring some rational thought to an increasingly irrational economic landscape. Today, we've been joined by Johnny Champa. He's a local realtor with Keller Williams here in Bend. We've been talking real estate. Now, Johnny, you not only own a small cattle ranch, as you said, but I understand you specialize as well in farms and ranches. Are we getting a lot of activity in those markets as well?
Yes, we are. However, it's very interesting. In the single-family homes in Bend and Redmond, we have an extremely lack of inventory. You go and you look at the farm and ranch properties above $1 million, take your pick. It is an extreme buyer's market. The inventory is so high in that area.
Okay.
It's crazy. Absolutely insane.
Now, probably because it's tougher to flip those. There's work involved with these things. And my guess is, look, when you're buying a farm or ranch, the goal, in most cases, is to generate income. But with prices having risen so much over the last 10 years, is it that buyers are having trouble penciling it out? If I buy it at this far, I mean, you can only plant so many crops. You're only going to get so much milk out of the cow, or you can only get so much for each cow or pig or sheep, whatever you're doing on the farm, llamas, alpacas, whatever they're doing. So the concern is that you might not be able to sustain yourself if you're buying it at a higher level because you're only going to generate so much income versus getting it at a lower level. Any guidance on that? What kind of things are happening there?
So yes, that is why right there we're seeing this so much inventory on the market of properties, ranches, farms for sale. It's because the cattle market really hasn't risen extremely. However, land value has risen extremely. So these cattle farmers that bought this land to farm cattle and make money now see the value of just their land alone extremely surpasses the value of the money that they're making per year. So these farmers are sitting back like, hey, if I sell this thing, I can retire and get rich, and let's go. Let's sell it at the value of my land. However, the competition, there's so many people out there, and they don't need to dip to, they're not needing to sell because they're still making money.
Gotcha.
Farming and ranching. However, they're waiting for that quote unquote Californian to come and, change their lifestyle up.
Right.
There's just so many of them out there for sale right now. And they're for sale at a fairly marketable price. It's just for a buyer to come in and buy that land, they're not banking on just the income of that ranch. They're banking on the land value as well. They realize that, no one's making any more land. They're going to go buy that land for a value, and it's more just buying the land and having farming as a sustainable way to pay your mortgage.
Right. And that's the question. It's got to pencil out on some level to be able to do that.
And it's not
I have to think with
out.
Well, and you got
much.
Green New Deal. I don't know what that sort of does to the cow market. If people start eating, away from the beef, I mean, I like beef. I do. I know I can't have it every day, but you hope that we don't kill the entire marketplace for that, because we have a lot of people out here that rely on that.
Yeah. I don't believe that the cattle market's going to go away. We're always going to need beef for everything. It's just not rising at a substantial scale because of reasons like that. But still, I mean, your beef is getting more expensive, and that's
right.
just because we're having to go through more regulations, go through more certifications, all this kind of stuff.
Correct. Okay. This is good advice. All right. This is good stuff. Look, I think we're about out of time. I appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule. I know you've been busy right now. I'd like to get you back on in a few months to discuss some other areas of your expertise and things that you're seeing as we get into 2020.
Wonderful.
And please remember, having Johnny on the show is not meant to be an endorsement of Johnny or any particular realtor. But if you would like more information about Johnny, you can reach him at 541-668-1300, or you can email him directly at Johnny, that's capital JOHNNY, at Champa Team, ChampaTeam.com. Did I get that right?
Exactly correct.
All right, and I'm sorry we didn't take a question today, but remember, you can send in questions by emailing us at planwell@gpollockfinancial.com. You can call in at 541-480-1661. And remember, if you missed part of this or any past episodes, you can go to my website at gpollockfinancial.com and click on the tab called Radio Show. All right, now, hang on. We're going to take a very quick break, but when we come back, we're going to be joined by our good friend, Robo-Advisor, who's got some holiday cheer for us. So please stay with us. Welcome.